Alright, I'm driving right now. Let me turn on the radio. We got Dragon Quest XI coming out on Tuesday. Right now it's Tuesday, so that's exactly in a week from now. So, just want to sit here while I'm in the car, taking a cruise, and just rank the first 9 Dragon Quest games. Just give them a ranking. I haven't played 10. That's the Japanese-only MMORPG. Have not even touched that game, so that will be absent from the rankings, but that's fine. Dragon Quest XI is a single-player, classic, standard JRPG, and so are the first 9, so 10 doesn't really belong in this ranking, even if I did play it. So, without further ado, let me get to my rankings here. Now, we got, at the very bottom, I don't even have to think about it, it's Dragon Quest II. It's a fun game. It's got my favorite overworld music. A lot of my favorite music, actually, comes from Dragon Quest II. But, goddamn, is the game just kind of frustrating at points, you know? I remember getting towards the end and just constantly redoing the final sequence. You start at this little, there's a save point at this little shrine. And I just remember going from that shrine, trying to get to the end, the final boss, all that shit. Whatever happens, I remember doing it over and over again. And then until I bit the bullet and was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna grind a little bit. So I did that. Hold on, I gotta order some food here.
Hi, may I help you?
Hi, can I get a chocolate shake?
What size?
Whatever this, just regular size.
Okay.
And that's it.
$3.45.
All right, thank you. All right, got that done. Now, yeah, that's really all I gotta say about 2. There's a lot of things I like about it. I like the party system. I like the 3 characters. I like the colors. You know, you got a pink, you got a blue, and you got a green. I think that's really cool. Yeah, world is very big. It's very large. Maybe a little too large for the time in which that game came out. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this one. So, all right, I got 2 at the bottom. Now I got to think about it a little bit because, you know, it's not really set in stone. I'd probably put 9 next, would be my next one. And it's kind of unfair because I didn't play 9 when it came out. I didn't get that, the experience with all the multiplayer and, you know, doing dungeons with your friends and stuff like that. So I only have the base game to go off of, which was good, but you know, it just wasn't a lot. It was very standard. It was just, you know, you go through, you do the story, and that was it. And there were some cool twists to it. Excuse me. There's some cool twists. All right, so my phone straight up died there that time. So I was talking about Dragon Quest IX though, and as I said, you had some twists. You had the train. You had, you know, the whole angel. I don't know exactly what they were called in the game, the race that your main character is, but some sort of angel, heavenly realm he's from. He's got wings. That was kind of cool. You had a job system. It's one of the games with the job system. There's 2 different job systems you get in Dragon Quest, and I think there's the 1 and 3. 3 and 9 I know have the same one. Forgot what other games have it. And 6 and 7 have the same one. I think that's it. But yeah, no, the 1 and 3 and 9 is not really my favorite. I like the 6 and 7 one for sure. So you know, I'm not giving 9 any points for that job system. It doesn't really do anything for me. In 3, we'll get to this later, but 3 gets a lot of points for that because it was one of the first JRPGs to have that kind of job system. So I give 3 a ton of points, but 9 now, I mean, especially after 6 and 7's job system, it's a nice throwback, but it doesn't do anything for me. So 9, as I said, didn't get the sick multiplayer stuff playing with your friends when it came out, so that's why it's kind of lower on the list for me. Next up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next up, I'm gonna put 6, and you know, it's the third game in that little Zenithian trilogy, and I feel like at this point they were really just like, fuck it, we'll just put out a game, and that's really an unfair judgment actually of that game, because 6 has a lot of really great stuff in it, but compared to 4 and 5, it doesn't push the envelope as much as 4 and 5 do. Let's just say that, and it doesn't do as much to set itself apart from the rest of the series that 4 and 5 do. Because 4 and 5 are very unique entries. They're very one of a kind, and that's why they're a lot higher on the list. Where 6, it does have the really cool different realm system. I like that a lot. That was pretty sick. But it wasn't as captivating as the multiple chapter format of 4 with all the different characters, or the grand epics, full lifetime storyline of 5. So for that, 6 is a little lower on the list. But again, it does have that multiple realm system. It has a really nice, fun, big world to explore. It's got great characters. So, 6 it's better than 2 and 9 for me, but doesn't do a lot to set itself apart. So I really don't have too much else to say about it. It's a very solid game. Everything said, it is very solid. There's not much wrong with it. There's not a lot of negatives with it. So that's 6. Now I really gotta think. I still got 1 on the board. I still got 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. And I'll put 1 here. I'll put 1 in this spot. It's got to go. To me, 1's got to go a little bit lower. It can't be at the top. You can't put 1 towards the top. Some people are going to want to put 1 towards the top because it's 1. But come on, if we're playing these games today, you can't put 1 towards the top. There's just it's not as the series gets better. Let's just say that. But 1 is the first Dragon Quest game I played. It's the first one I finished, and I have a very soft spot for 1. If I had to pick my favorite between the NES games 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to include 4 because it's got the DS remake and all that shit. Yeah, fuck it, I'll include 4. If I had to pick my favorite, fuck it, no, I'm not including 4. The first trilogy, non-Zenithian. If I'm talking about my favorite one, I'd pick 1. 1, 2, and 3. My favorite one is 1. I've played that one the most. I love how simple it is. I love the feeling of playing 1. It's a one of a kind game. There's no party. It's the only one with no party. I like that a lot. It feels very intimate, very personal. But yeah, I really do enjoy 1. But having said that, even though it is my favorite, and this is my list, so I should be ranking it higher because it is my favorite, I just can't do that. I just can't do that because it's very grindy, especially if you're playing this on the NES. It's very grindy. It's very repetitive, and it's very outdated. It's a relic. This game is like ancient. So, and even though this one is my favorite of the first 3, it's only because I played it the most. I'm the most familiar with this one. I'm sure if I played 3 a couple more times, then 3 would be my favorite, because even I can sit here and say 3 is a hell of a lot of a better game than 1. But 1, I just really do have a soft spot for 1, and I'm taking back what I say. Oh, you can't have 1 high. If you have 1 high on your list, more power to you. Because 1 is really just. The more I talk about it, the more like, yeah, that's a fun game. That's a fun game, but again, it's a frustrating game. It's an unforgiving game. It's an outdated game. It's got a killer soundtrack, though. Those are classic songs in 1, just absolute classics. So maybe I should have put 1 higher, but no, 1's going here. I feel like it's a good spot for 1. It's higher than, I'd probably say 6 is, in all fairness, is a better game than 1 as well, but I'll give 1 some points for being one of my more favorite games. So Yeah, I got 1 there. So then next, what do we have on the board? We got 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 on the board, and I've already ranked 1, 2. I've already ranked 1, 2, 6, and 9. Okay, I just want to make sure everything, because I don't have anything written down here. Next, I'm going to put 3. I'm going to put 3 next. It's a lot of people's favorite game in the series. Not my favorite game in the series. I've only played it once. It was a very fun game, and I understand its importance in the history of not only the series, but of video games in general. It's, it's one of the first really groundbreaking JRPGs. One of the first kind of modernish JRPGs. But for me, I just don't like, excuse me, I just don't like that job system. I'm sorry. I'll give 3 a lot of points. As I said earlier, it's the first game with a job system of this type, and it was revolutionary. It was absolutely monumental in terms of advancing JRPGs to where they are today. But I'm just not a fan of that job system, and I'm not a fan of the user-created characters, user-created party members. That's another thing I'll say about 9. Forgot to say, but yeah, 9 kind of has that similar thing with the same job system and the user-created party members. That's not me, man, and I'm not really a fan of that. You have to name them yourselves and stuff. I like having the set party, but everything other than that, it's an exceptional game. The music's phenomenal. The story is just absolutely fantastic. I'm sure not a lot of people were expecting to get a kind of a prequel to the first 2 games in this one, but it's absolutely phenomenal that they went back and told the epic tale of Erdrick, or Loto, depending on what version you're playing. But I think that's really cool that the game was able to, the series as a whole was able to establish this lore, and then that 3 could tell the story. It's very neat to go through and play that, hearing about it in the first 2 games, and it doesn't disappoint. You get the story, it's like, fuck, this is sick. And yeah, it just really feels impactful. And then going to Alefgard for the first time, you think the game's over, but then you go down there, you establish Alefgard. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It's just a shame I haven't played it as much, because as I said earlier, this one probably would be higher on my list if I played it more than I have. But yeah, I've played it the one time, and a lot of people's favorite. It's just not my favorite, but it does a lot right. And yeah, I'd have more to say if I was more familiar with it, but I played it the one time, and that was it. It was pretty challenging. I remember there's some challenging parts. The orb collection was I like that personally, getting the orbs, the colored orbs. It was a first in the series to have a quest like I think it was the first to have a major like big fetch quest like that. You had the armor in the first game, I know that, but that was just a few pieces of armor. You had going around the world getting these orbs, and it's a bigger world than one. I like that a lot. I'm a fan of those kind of fetch quests. So yeah, I gave you your specific example of something I like now in the game. Now I can move on to the next game, which we have 4, 5, 7, and 8. All 4 of those games, these are the top 4 for me, by far and away. These are my top 4 Dragon Quest games, and all 4 of them have arguments. That all 4 of them do something the best, so we'll just say that. Next on my list, I'm going to have 4. Number 4. 4, fantastic game. Again, absolutely fantastic game. No negatives on 4. I absolutely love this game. I loved the chapter structure. It was so fun getting those short little chapters out of the way in the beginning. Loved playing as a Torneko, I think is the name of the merchant. That was just an absolute blast playing his storyline. It was so fresh. It was so unique. I've never played as a merchant like that in a JRPG where you're focused more on selling items than establishing a shop, more than fighting combat and leveling up. So that was extremely memorable for me. And then you get to the final chapter where everything starts coming together, and you get the main hero, and then you're playing a Dragon Quest game. You're playing the formula again, and it was just so cool to. It took so long to get to that point. You had to go through all those beginning chapters, but it just felt so much more rewarding once you got to the point where, like, oh, now we're playing the game. that could have been just the beginning of the game. You pop in and you start with the main hero storyline, but it just wouldn't have felt the same. And then you get to that storyline. It's the first is the Neithian trilogy, so you get a lot with the castle in the sky, the dragon, collecting the armor. It's really fun stuff to do it going around your first time with it. But yeah, I really love 4 a lot. There's really nothing wrong with it. The only reason it's not higher up is just that I feel like the other games just do a little bit better and just are a little bit better. So yeah, that's why I really feel bad about having 4 fourth on my list. But God, the other games just the other games are something else. This game's something else too, but the other ones are just a step above. So next game I got is actually not a step above. They're all pretty close to each other, but the other games are just a little bit above. So the next game is 5. And again, a lot of people's favorite is 5, but not my favorite. Again, like 3, it's not my favorite. But there's absolutely, I can't think of any flaws with this game. The story is just incredible. It's incredible. It's one of the best stories I've seen in a JRPG. So personal you get with this character. The character doesn't speak. He doesn't fucking speak. Doesn't say a word this whole game. But you still feel like you're with this guy. You've been there with him. You've seen what he's seen. You've gone through his whole life with him. You start when he's a little kid, and you go through all the way until he's married, until he's an old man, has kids himself. God, these Jack in the Box shakes, they taste so good, but they're so thick. I've been in the car ride the whole time with this thing. It's still barely even melted. The lady asked me if I wanted a spoon with it. I was just like, no, it's a milkshake. I don't need a spoon. But maybe I did need that spoon because I can't even sip anything from it right now. But anyways, as I was saying, this game is just so fucking good. You go through his whole life. He started as a kid. The wedding. Oh, eventually you're a slave at one point. But again, the wedding, you get to pick your wife. I mean, what game does that? You get to pick one of 3 wives, and you get to have that wife in your party, and then you have kids, and your kids get to join the party. The whole family, your party is your whole family. I mean, that's just special stuff right there. And it's the Neithian again. You get this castle in the sky. You get the armor fetch quest. It's just all great stuff. And yeah, to me, the storyline just puts it a little bit above 4. I like 4 a lot. I love 4, but I feel like 4 introduced a lot of party members, and you just had to go with the ones you liked. Whereas in 5, also had a lot of party members, but it was a lot easier making your party. You go with your family, your pet. You have your pet in the game. It just felt a lot easier just to, hey, here's my party. 4 had a lot of characters. It was kind of all right. Like, I don't want to play with these characters. They kind of shove them towards you. It's like, all right. I like having a nice party, which is why 7 and 8 are so high on my list. But yeah, 5. The story just does so much for me. It's so unique. It's just so 4 is very unique too, but 5, I feel like 5 is just a little bit more special. Especially, it's just more sentimental too. It's just like, oh damn, you go through this guy's whole life. It's something special. But yeah, it's enough of that. The next game on my list, and this is always hard. I'm always torn between these two. On any given day, this could change. I got 8 right now at number 2, and it really feels bad because for a while 8 was my favorite game, and maybe tomorrow it will still be my favorite game. It'll be 8, but 8 again with the top 4. Nothing. I have no complaints with 8. It has the best presentation, some of the best presentation in a video game I've ever seen. The intro, you start this little forest like cove area. I don't even know when the fuck you start. And then you get the opening credits with the music playing, and you're walking. The opening credits, you're just walking to a town. That's all that's actually going on. But the graphics are fantastic. They're still great. It's nice cell shading. The music is phenomenal. It just feels like a really cool, quaint moment, but it just feels so right. The opening credits, and that's just the beginning of fantastic presentation all around, from great graphics, great music, all throughout the game. The gameplay is super tight. Great party. Like I said, I love having a party. This game just gives you a party. No job system. Leveling up the stats though is really fun. Yeah, what else? Just everything about the game is just fantastic. Honestly, there's really nothing there's really nothing much else to say. It's not like 4 or 5. It has one thing in particular, like the chapters and the story does really well. This game just does everything really well, and the presentation is through the roof. Oh, the voice acting too. Oh my god, just fantastic game. But at the top of my list right now, I got 7. Just really, really long game. Maybe a little too long. I'll give that one a negative. 7 is a little too long. And I forgot to talk about this when I was talking about 6, but I love the job system in 6 and 7. And maybe that's something 6 does really well, but again, not as well as 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are special games, but 6 does have that nice job system. But anyways, 7 is the game we're talking about right now, which has the same job system as 6. And I love this job system. I love just switching jobs. You get to keep your character's inherent intrinsic level, but you get to just switch jobs, level them up by battling more monsters, and then you get more and more jobs. You get higher jobs, you get better jobs, you get to mix 2 jobs. Oh, you did these 2 jobs, you matched them. All right, now you have this job you can master and start on. Very, very, very fun gameplay loop right there with those jobs. And in 7 especially, I loved, and on the 3DS one, just seeing the different costumes, getting your characters and the new jobs, all the costumes, all that shit. I really like that a lot. But besides the job system, this game is just packed. I mean, it's loaded. There is a huge world to explore, and that's just the normal world. You have the time traveling too. You go back in time, go all these different places. It's just, it's something else. And I don't know why, because I feel like 8 does pretty much everything better than 7. 8 has better presentation, it has better music, it's got better characters, it's got a better party and stuff, but there's something about 7 that just feels so grand. It just feels so big, and it's just, there's so much. As much as 8 has going for it, there's always something in 7 I'm reminded of. Like, oh, 7 has all this, this, and this. And I remember something else. Oh, it has this too. And it has this part. It has this part. And you're doing this. You go underwater. You go into the sea. You fight this fucking mermaid thing. You do a whole pirate side quest and stuff. It's just like so much in this game that even though some of it doesn't hit as hard as the stuff in 8 hits, there's enough here that there's going to be plenty of hits. So, yeah, it's just a huge game. I don't know. Maybe I should put 8 higher, because I really can't explain why I prefer 7. But I just really, really, I mean, you never run out of stuff to do in this game. And, again, the job system is really great. Again, the party, I love having a set party, but in this game, I mean, I don't think the party's that great, to be honest. I don't think the characters are really the shining point, which is fine. I'm going through my gate right now. I don't want these guys to see me with my phone out and arrest me. Okay. We're through the gate. So yeah, that's my ranking though. I really wish I had more to say about why I have 7 on top. I really do. But it's just a game you got to go play. You got to just see it for yourself. It's just what I'm talking about. But I think I was saying something. The characters aren't that great. They're not really a strong suit of this game. There's actually some cool characters here and there, but not like 7. They don't have the personality of the characters of 7, or of 8. I mean, they don't have the personality of the 8 characters. But yeah, that's my ranking. That's how I see it right now. So to recap, we got 2 at the bottom, then 9, then 6, then 1, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 8, and then 7. And that's my ranking. That's it. That's how I see it. Everybody have a good day, and hopefully 11 will come out on top. Hopefully.